is May here on Brandon's World, which means the NBA playoffs are in full swing. And when I was last with you, ladies and gentlemen, we had game number five between the Pistons and the Knicks. We had game number five between the Pacers and the Bucks, which of course Indiana moves on against Milwaukee. They'll face Cleveland. Boston disposed of Orlando as I predicted in 5 games. We have the Rockets overcome game five against Golden State, which, to be honest with you, I do feel like the Warriors kind of acted in. They know that Houston was going to come in. They were going to put their air on fire, try to get the series back to Golden State. I do think Friday night is going to be a very intense game six between the Rockets and Warriors. Reminder, I did say this is how the series was going to go. Golden State was going to steal game one. Houston was going to win game two. Golden State would go up 3-1. Houston would get it back to Golden State for a game six. The Warriors would close out that series. The one series I have gotten completely wrong about in these entire playoffs so far was the T-Wolves Lakers. I had predicted the Lakers in six. I thought the Lakers had the best two players in the series in LeBron James and Luka Doncic. And I know the Lakers, obviously, they don't have a big man on their roster besides whatever minutes Max freaking Kleber got last night. And the Lakers bench depth, which you absolutely need in a postseason, more so now that there are more stars than ever in today's NBA. But last night, was about Julius Randle, and it was about Rudy Gobert. Obviously, a couple points away from a 30-20 game, him getting every offensive rebound there is, Julius Randle playing the absolute series of his life. And the funny thing is, when Minnesota made the trade, Karl-Anthony Towns for Julius Randle, it was a weird trade for both sides. Nobody really knew how it would fit in Minnesota. You kind of felt like the Knicks were a little bit better with Cat, but not necessarily over the top, even with Mikal Bridges. And as I said, Minnesota got off to a rugged start, and there was a real chance they could have fell into the play-in tournament, but they faced the Lakers, and Anthony Edwards outplayed Luka Doncic and LeBron James in this series. Now, I am not going to dog LeBron James at all. Yes, he had bad fourth quarters in this series. I acknowledge that. But also, I am at this point grading LeBron not necessarily on his GOAT stature. I am grading that LeBron James is a 40-year-old man doing what no other 40-year-old man has done in the history of this sport, playing at a level of age, 32, age 33 at this point in his career, where the reason why the Lakers, in my opinion, made the trade Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic was not only because Luka was available, but I think you saw, even in game four, where again, the Lakers just could not close. And even last night, it was the story of the series, right? Lakers up, in this series, eight in the third and 10 in the third, and going to the fourth quarter up and trying to close. And Anthony Edwards just took the game over in game three and game four. And I thought game four really shot the heart out of the Lakers. And you saw it last night. They came with no energy right from the get-go. Luka Doncic has the back spasms in the first half. He doesn't look the same in the second half. He is getting cooked on the defensive end of the floor. And the thing about last night was Anthony Edwards over 0 from 11, excuse me, from three. Minnesota only hit 7 threes as a team. 7 of 40 from three should get you beat by 20, 30 points. The way the Cavaliers annihilated the Heat and the way the Thunder annihilated the Grizzlies. And yet the T-Wolves won because Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert outplayed every single member of the Lakers roster. And JJ Redick is getting snippy. I get it. He's a young, confident guy. He was a very good player. The Lakers had the free seed. They were playing very well at times post Luka trade. But in my opinion, Minnesota came with a feist. They came with an angst. They came like a team who, in last year's postseason, remember, they fell in 5 games to the Mavericks in the WCF, but they knocked out Denver. They swept Phoenix in the first round. They really took it to those teams. And that was the same T Wolves team that I saw. And when you have Jaden Daniels, when you have Naz Reid, when you have Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert getting every rebound in existence, Minnesota looked like the better team, and they are the deeper team. And I think the Warriors are going to wrap up tonight here against Houston. And I think that it's a very similar matchup, which is why I wanted to see LeBron versus Steph. As I mentioned, I thought it was the Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird of my generation. And I thought those two teams were very similar. A lot of shooting, not a lot of bigs. So Golden State to me is very similar to LA, which is why I think Minnesota's size will handle Golden State and wrap up this series relatively quickly. Clippers Nuggets, I'm very interested. Nikola Jokic is again proving why he is the best player in the world. I do think, as I've always predicted, the Clippers will get this thing back to Ball Arena for a game 7, the same spot where Minnesota upset Denver a year ago. Could the Clippers do the same? I said going into that series, as great as Zubac is, no one can stop Nikola Jokic. And Jamal Murray in game 5 turned back in a playoff Jamal Murray, the same Jamal Murray we saw 2 years ago when the Denver Nuggets won the championship. And when Jamal Murray's balling like that, when Jokic is going, when they get contributions from MPJ and Christian Braun and Aaron Gordon on both ends of the court, that's a Denver team who won the championship 2 years ago. And I said going into this series, obviously the Nuggets just went with Adelman as the interim head coach after firing Mike Malone. Clippers have a veteran championship proven head coach in Tyronn Lue, and yet so far Tyronn Lue has been outcoached in this series. And so this is one of those series to me that, again, I said about the Clippers. As much as I love, the Clippers roster, and as much and as good as they can play, and Norman Powell's had a career year, Kawhi Leonard has stayed healthy. Sometimes he can disappear in big playoff games, or he could have a game like game 2 where he goes absolutely nuclear. And then you have James Harden, who just disappears randomly as the games get more meaningful, as the games get closer. If you're in a game 5, 2-2, or a game 7, 3-3, James Harden will more than likely disappear. And that's what happened in game 5. I do think for Denver's sake, they better hope they get through with the Clippers tonight and get a little bit of rest for Oklahoma City because, as I've been saying now over the past week, I think a Denver or Clippers Oklahoma City matchup will be a fantastic second round series. The problem is Oklahoma City is going to get 6, 7 days off, and Denver and the Clippers will have just gone through a war, even if it ends in six against each other. I want to talk real quickly about Milwaukee. I said on Tuesday it would be Giannis Antetokounmpo's last game in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform. I still have no idea how they lost that game. Doc Rivers is the most overrated coach potentially in NBA history. He won one NBA championship in 2008 on the backs of Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, who many people forget. I've always called them the Big Four, obviously. And then Kevin Garnett. He said recently that he doesn't get enough credit for getting the 3-1 leads that he eventually blew, which is total loser's mentality. Doc Rivers has been, whether it's been with the Clippers and the Lob City team, whether it was with the Sixers team with Joel Embiid and those guys, whether it was with the Clippers team when they first formed with Kawhi Leonard or Paul George, are now here in Milwaukee with Giannis Antetokounmpo, even going back to his early days before Boston with the Orlando Magic. Doc Rivers is the most overrated head coach in the NBA. He's a good coach. He gets along pretty well with stars. He just can never get you over the hump. I used to call him the Andy Reid of the NBA. The problem is Andy Reid got Patrick Mahomes and started winning championships. Now he might be the Kyle Shanahan of the NBA, which is the championship trophy. But, Damian Lillard's going to miss the whole next season. And I know Giannis being an international player, we know that international players don't necessarily ask out, right? Jokic kind of said with the Michael Malone firing, it's a team decision. I'm here for the team, yada, yada, yada. We know Dirk Nowitzki stuck it out in Dallas for all those years and did get his one championship much later in his career than Giannis did in Milwaukee. But you look at this Bucks team. And Kevin Durant is on the market right now from the Phoenix Suns. I think Durant is destined to co team up with Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks, who are somehow in a battle here with the poorly coached Detroit Pistons, who are a fun story. Kate Cunningham's a very good player. They're not a very good team, and you guys already know, as I mentioned numerous shows, every time I talk NBA playoffs here about JB Bickerstaff. Listen, Gary Trent, Kevin Porter, Bobby Portis. I mean, these are the guys, Brooke Lopez, these are the guys that Giannis is working with without Dame. And they don't have a first round pick in multiple years. I think it's 2030, 2031, something like that. They don't really have a lot of ways to improve. And when you look at how young the Cleveland Cavaliers team is, and I even threw out they could upgrade, they could go move off of Darius Garland for a bigger wing and upgrade there. You look at how much the Boston Celtics are built to win. And, you know, the Knicks, again, do they make a move? Who knows with Cooper Flag? I mean, if he goes to Chicago, all of a sudden that team's going to be really good. Again, you expect the Pistons to get better. Orlando's got some good talent. Indiana is obviously a very good team, right? I don't think they match up particularly well with Cleveland. I think they're a poor man's Cleveland of Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, and Pascal Siakam. If they're a poor man's version of Cleveland, there's no way Milwaukee actually matches up with the real Cleveland. Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton for that incredible comeback in Game 5. I think Halliburton is more star adjacent as opposed to star. Some people want to put him as superstar, which I'm sorry. He's made one conference finals, and that was probably because the Knicks got hurt last year. I don't think of Tyrese Halliburton as a top. Maybe he's in the top 15 players of this league. I'm not sure yet. I think he's a very talented player. So, my point is, Milwaukee needs to move on, right? Milwaukee needs to rebuild. Now, there's a lot of speculation. I mentioned Kevin Durant with the Knicks that it could be the Knicks. If I'm the Bucks, I'm telling Giannis I do not want him going in the same conference as the East. I would move him to Houston. I think if I'm Milwaukee, I get a very young, talented player like a Jalen Green. Even me and my buddy Josh Unger over at Championship Rings, we were discussing the possibility of like, would Oklahoma City package a Chet Holmgren and a Jalen Williams, which if I'm Oklahoma City, I do that. I would have two of the top five players in the league with my bench depth as well that they still have. If I'm Milwaukee, obviously it's a good building block. But I think you can knock it in stone right now. Kevin Durant is not going to go out west if he gets traded from Phoenix, if they're going to move him to the east. And I think Giannis will go from the east to the west. I think they will essentially trade spots. I like Durant in New York. I like Giannis in Houston. Couple other spots, maybe even San Antonio. You pair them up with Wemby. Maybe they don't have to get rid of De'Aaron Fox, depending on what their draft pick is. I mean, would you trade Cooper Flag for 3 or 4 years of Giannis Antetokounmpo? As great as Cooper Flag is, I think I would. So, those are the kind of the offseason discussions I think that we're going to see around the league. Again, I think Eastern Conference wise, I still think the Celtics will sweep Knicks or Pistons. I do think the Knicks get it done tonight. Cavs Pacers will probably go six at best. I could easily see 5 games. I think we are destined for a Celtics Cavs 7 game barn burner Eastern Conference final, last series ever on TNT. On the Western side, I do think the Lakers getting eliminated. I think the Lakers were the one veteran team who could take it to a young Oklahoma City team. The Lakers getting eliminated, I think, does due diligence for Oklahoma City. Denver, Jokic could be a matchup problem for them. Chet Holmgren is a very young player. He's lengthy. Again, if Jamal Murray plays at the level he did, and you get contributions from Braun and Porter and Aaron Gordon, Denver can pose a potential problem for Oklahoma City. But I think overall, the fact that series is going seven, Oklahoma City gets rest is a good thing. I think right now we're looking at a Cavs Thunder finals as I speak today on May 1st. Obviously, my Western Conference final representative, the Lakers, were eliminated last night. We'll see what they do in the offseason. Um, you can make an argument it's a disappointing end to the season, but then again, they need bigs. Like that clip from the Brandon's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brandon's World podcast right here on YouTube.